Greetings and good evening. Welcome to the Roundtable, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Tuesday, October the 28th, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, we come on here every Tuesday and Friday night to talk football. And of course, that is what we are going to do tonight. We're at the very top of the show before we even get into the show itself. I want to take a moment or two to spend it talking about real life issues and real life things that people are going through. The people who are currently residing on the island of Jamaica are experiencing a Category 5 hurricane on this Tuesday night. Whether it has made landfall on the western coast of Jamaica yet, not sure. In the Montego Bay area, it is a Category 5 with winds up to 175 plus miles per hour of sustained winds. It's going to be a whole lot of property damage, a whole lot of structural damage. But the prayer, at least for myself on this night, is that the amount of loss of life is cut down to a minimum. So if you know anyone, have family, friends, loved ones who are currently on the island, whether or not they reside there, visiting there for business, for whatever the reason, please keep them up in your prayers on this night. As we will not know the extent of the damage from this hurricane for days, weeks, and possibly months to come for those who are on the island, not only in Jamaica, but throughout the Caribbean, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Hispaniola, all of the islands in the Caribbean that are in the path of this hurricane. You have our prayers on this night. And for those who are going to experiencing what this hurricane is going to be delivering, not only tonight and in the upcoming day, but if it continues to gain strength in the Caribbean and in the Gulf, wherever it makes landfall next. So keep them in your prayers. Stay safe, hunker down, and we'll be there to support you on the backside of this thing. So thank you all for joining us on this great Tuesday evening. We got some great football games to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. And there is obviously no other person that I would much rather have this conversation with than Griff, my man, my brother. How are we doing on this fine Tuesday evening, man?
Hey man, doing good, man. And as you stated, as you started out the show, man, my prayers go out to all the families in Jamaica, as well as the next place is supposed to hit is in Cuba. The next landfall is supposed to be in Cuba, so definitely send the prayers, man. Looking forward to get on here, talk football, man, because I know we got a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff took place this weekend, some good, some bad, but definitely looking forward to having this conversation.
Yes, sir. And before we even get into the games, special welcome and a shout out to everyone joining us for tonight's episode. Appreciate the continued support for wherever you are in this world. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your Tuesday evening to sit here and fellowship and converse with Griff and I as we talk about football, which we are getting ready to do. Week 8 and Week 9 of the NFL and the NCAA was another magical weekend where dreams are being dashed. But there is life after. There is a rebirthing process that we are all go through in life, and this weekend was no different for the football teams. But before we do that, man, Griff, I tell you, October for me personally, especially the second half of October, for me personally, is the best 2 to 3 week period in the sports world in our country. Why? Because you have the National Football League going into full effect. You have the World Series kicking off where the Major League Baseball season is culminating. You have professional basketball kicking off for its regular season. You have NHL kicking off for its regular season. You have college basketball for both men and women kicking off its regular season. And for those of us who like to see cars drive fast, you have the playoffs in NASCAR going through its playoff season. This 2 to 3 week stretch where you have all four of the major sports in America having their season being executed, being implemented is just magnificent for sports fans. But man, when I tell you the World Series is providing some magic, I know most of us did not stay up to watch that 18 inning World Series game last night between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers. But, bruh, when I tell you, Shohei Ohtani, and ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what nobody say. Baseball has been around since the 1890s, even earlier. I'm talking professional, right? And we've had stories about who the possible greatest player of all time was. Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Robinson. Pick a player, and you can create an argument that he most likely was the best baseball player of his era and be in the GOAT conversation. But when I sit here and tell you on this blessed Tuesday, Shohei Ohtani is the best baseball player God has ever created. Ever created. If you are not familiar with this young man's game, he has 100+ mile an hour fastball. He is 6'5", 6'6", 250, 260, still in his early 20s or late 20s. He's a $700 million man for the Dodgers. He is a Cy Young award-winning pitcher, meaning that he is the best of the best. But guess what else? He hits home runs like his name is King Griffey Jr. or Barry Bonds or Babe Ruth or Hank Aaron. I mean, he doesn't just hit them, he knocks them out of the park. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the best player ever, ever, and is tonight's starting pitcher in game 4 of the World Series. After having a phenomenal game last night, 2 home runs, 2 inside the park doubles, got walked 5 times intentionally. He reached base 9 times. Shohei Ohtani is that guy. But bruh, when I tell you he is that guy, Griff, he ain't the playmaker on his own team. Because Fast Five Freddie Freeman, the superhero from 2024. We all remember what Freddie Freeman did in 2024 in the World Series, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, he's doing it again. Walk-off home run in the 18th inning. 2 walk-off home runs in the World Series. Reggie Jackson, known as Mr. October, move aside, sir. Fast Five Freddie is here to take your spot. If the Dodgers win tonight, they have a very good chance with Shohei Ohtani as the starting pitcher. They'll be up 3-1. And it will be because of Shohei Ohtani. It will be because of Fast Five Freddie Freeman. It'll be because of Mookie Betts, who is also an MVP type of player. It'll be because of that lineup, that batting order, where we saw, for those of us who caught the highlights, who braved the game last night, the intentional walks of not only Shohei Ohtani, but of Mookie Betts to get the Fast Five Freddie. And Fast Five Freddie made him pay. Even when he was hitting flyouts, he was taking it to the warning track. He's going to be the MVP if Shohei Ohtani doesn't get named the MVP. I just wanted to give Major League Baseball a shout out and their special love at the very top of the show before we dig into this football discussion. Griff, you got anything you want to say about that World Series, man?
Yeah, man. Hey, this is the Dodgers is my son team. I don't know how it happened because I'm from Birmingham, so I've been a Atlanta Braves guy ever since I was a kid. But hey, he loves the Dodgers. That's all he talk about is the Dodgers. And you're right, man. Baseball, as much as I love to play the game, I can't watch it until the World Series. There's just too many games to follow, man. So it's awesome what we're seeing right now. I don't. I'm not surprised by how he plays because if you ever been to Asia and just watch how those systems are in Korea and China, Japan, how they play baseball, these guys been schooled to play this game since they was real kids, and they have a system, and it shows with him. So kudos to the Dodgers. I'm pulling for the Dodgers tonight to win. Honestly, one because I want the guys from up across the border to win. I wanted to be right here in the United States, but also because G2 is a Dodgers fan.
I got you, man. I'm also pulling for the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, greatest player of all time. Go argue with the person in the mirror if you disagree. Enough of discussion. All right, man. And of course, I'll be tuning in after the show tonight. All right, Griff, we had some great football this past weekend. We had some defining football this past weekend. We had some games both on the NFL level and on the collegiate level that separated teams. And it all started with the NFL game of the week, the Roundtable, where the Green Bay Packers took their 4-1-1 record to Pittsburgh to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers, led by one each Aaron Rodgers, the 41, 42-year-old quarterback who still has it and is hopefully looking to lead his Pittsburgh Steelers to a division title and some playoff success. Well, those Green Bay Packers came in on Sunday. We talked about this game on Friday, as to what Aaron Rodgers needed to do to give his Pittsburgh Steelers a chance. You were not one of those, I'm on the Aaron Rodgers train. You kind of laid out what Green Bay needed to do, let that defense go, focus on the run game a little bit to make sure that we play ball keep away and put up enough points to take care of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had on those throwback uniforms that looked a little odd, but that's neither here nor there. You surprised by the outcome? I know we both picked Green Bay to win, but I was kind of hoping for a little bit of Ron's late game magic to make this a little interesting.
I mean, no, like you said, we both picked them. I already said what needed to happen, man. The Steelers, and then Troy said in the comments, one, they defense, it ain't the Steelers defense of old. You know what I'm saying? Well, we accustomed them applying pressure to the opposing quarterback, stopping the run and stuff like that, even having those shutdown guys in the secondary. But really, what the Steelers just don't have, other than Metcalf, they really don't have nobody. They got them tight ends, man, but they really don't have anything, man. But Michael Parsons, even when he's not sacking, he's affecting the play. What I said, you got to get to Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the quickest guys, one of the quickest release. If you could just apply that pressure, and that's what they did last night. They got to him 3 times, but they hit him more than 3 times. That's all I can say. So it was the outcome that I was looking for. Green Bay really didn't need, and I say this and I'll be quiet, as far as the Run Bowl, it was more the Jordan Love Bowl, because it kind of surprised me with his numbers. He actually outperformed Aaron Rodgers in this game. And, one of the things I said was he didn't have to do much other than not give the game away by, throwing the interception or turning the ball over, which we all know he's accustomed to doing. But he actually outperformed his predecessor. Mm-hmm. And so it just solidified him being the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
No, you're absolutely right, Troy. I don't believe that DK Metcalf turned into a diva. Jordan Love outperforming or having better stats than Aaron Rodgers isn't that much surprising because of the offensive weapons available to Jordan Love. And as you mentioned, Grid, the limited offensive weapons that Aaron Rodgers has available to him, on his primary target being DK Metcalf. So the question now is, should the Pittsburgh Steelers be worried? Because Jordan's Baltimore Ravens just may have a little bit of life. They just may have a second half season push that'll put a little bit of warmth and smile, a warmth in the heart of Karen and a smile back on her face, because the first half of the season has been extremely rough for the Baltimore Ravens. The question I want to ask you before we move on to the next game is, can Pittsburgh sustain the mid-season push and success that they had during the first quarter of the season to ensure that they keep Baltimore at bay? Because they're going to probably be the main competition for them, even though at 2-5, Baltimore is still favored to win their division. What does Pittsburgh have to do a week before the trade deadline to get better?
If I'm them, I'm gonna try to at least go get me a runner. I need a running back. Warren is okay, but I need somebody to help DK. That's what I need. I need somebody to help him. What I will also say, and I missed this in my commentary, I have to give a big shout out to Tucker Kraft, man. This was tight end weekend or whatever this was, And Tucker Kraft, man, I mean, that guy put on a daggone show last night. It wasn't even the other receivers. Tucker Kraft was the guy in this game for me. And Jordan Love, capitalized. But the Ravens ain't coming back, bro. I'm sorry. I mean, Karen and Jordan can be upset with me, but the Ravens ain't coming back, bro.
Oh, yeah, little baby.
Don't
Okay.
don't let this win this weekend fool you.
What?
It's a teaser.
Okay.
All it is like what's that movie? Harlem Nights when Della Reese went to the refrigerator to get some juice.
Yeah. Got my mouth all ready from the juice, and it's not ain't nothing left. I don't know, man. I think the Ravens they're gonna be cutting it close. As Jordan said, every game is a playoff game for them from
They
this
can't
point
they can't
forward.
they can't stumble though. The Ravens
They
cannot
can't.
afford to stumble.
They cannot afford to stumble. They are in the same situation that the Cincinnati Bengals were in last year, trying to make it to the playoffs with a terrible defense and an efficient offense. The Ravens are not exactly built that way, but they have zero room for error. And it starts on Thursday night when Lamar returns down in Miami. But we'll talk about that game a little later. Now, the NFC East, man, the battle for the NFC East, we talked about this on Friday, whether or not each one of these teams were going to make a statement this weekend in whatever game that they were playing, the Giants against the Eagles, the Cowboys against the Broncos, and then the Commanders against the Chiefs, to give themselves a leg up in this division race, right? Because we know over the past 20 years, the NFC East has not had a repeat division winner. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles won the division last year, so we were kind of looking to see if whether or not the Cowboys, Commanders, or even the Giants could give them a little competition. Well, it looks like the Giants took an L this weekend, the Cowboys took an L this weekend, the Commanders took an L this weekend. The only one that was victorious and got that dub were those Fly Eagles Fly. Fred's Fly Eagles Fly team. So I know Fred was extremely happy. Now, this season is a war of attrition. Injuries are going to happen. And when I introduced the Philadelphia Eagles on Friday night and I said that they were a passing team, Troy laughed at me and said they not no, but heck to the no, that they are not a passing team. Other than Jalen or my man Saquon breaking it open at the very beginning of the game, and I know he finished the game with 150 yards rushing, but 80 of that came in 1-1. The other 59 minutes, he got 60-plus yards. But Jalen Hurts had a very good game, just like he had last weekend. 4 touchdowns, spreading the ball out, even with A.J. Brown out. I know that the Giants took a serious injury with Scatterboo's leg injury, but they still are on the uptick for me. Based off what you saw Philly's defense do to the young rookie quarterback and how the transition, and I'm going to continue to say it, of the Eagles offense from a run-first offense to a not, if not a 50-50 balanced offense, a pass-first setting up the run, because teams are going to continue to focus on stopping the run, 7 and 8 in the box. What does the Philadelphia Eagles need to do to ensure that not only do they win this division, but continue to separate themselves from Dallas and Washington?
Well, first of all, I don't know which game you was watching, but they had 2 100-yard rushers in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen numbers was not that great. Jalen only had 179 yards. Yes, he had 4 touchdowns, but his numbers was not that great. I mean, you go look at those 2 touchdowns, the Goddard was short yardage touchdowns. Again, the Philadelphia Eagles is a running team, and I said this on Friday that they was gonna find their running game in this game right here. The Giants is a great defensive team, and I think they got shit after Scottaboo went out the game. It was all down the hill from that. I don't think they have to do much because again, the Giants is done. The Cowboys don't have no defense, and the Commanders, they had all the stuff. Like when we beat the Commanders last week, everybody told us we played with the practice squad. Well, this week they had McLaurin, they had Debo. They look worse this week than they did last week. That's all I'm gonna say. So the Eagles don't have to do much to win the NFC East this year. I think they will win the NFC East easily because of how the other three teams in the East is playing right now.
I feel you on
Run
that.
the ball, continue to run the ball, win AJ, and throw the ball when they need to, because that's all they really need to do. People, and it ain't so it's a hit on Jalen, but they don't have to throw the ball. He throw the ball when he needs to throw the ball, and he's good at throwing it when he needs to. But they are a run first team. That's what opened the game up for that squad.
So let me stop you right there.
Yes, sir.
They are not a run first team because they've played 8 games. They've had 1 game where they've rushed for 100 plus
Don't make
yards.
a difference.
They were being outscored the first 6 games of the season, even though they were 4-2. They are not a run first team. The first 7 games of this season proved to us they are not a run first team. They were being outscored. That clock was being controlled by their opponents, even though they were ending up on the positive side of the score at the end of the game, but they could have easily lost the game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They could have easily lost the game to the Los Angeles Rams. It's not for a phenomenal game-saving field goal kick at the very end. So passing has gotten them to where they are. Passing will continue to lead them. They can introduce the run once they figure out how to block scheme, but that 2 100-yard rushes this weekend, that was an anomaly. That would not be the norm for the rest of this year. Especially with Saquon throwing in.
Let me ask you this. Has the passing really got them there, or has it been just Jalen and his legs?
Jalen.
Let's go back and look at the games now. Let's go back and look at the game. I hear what you're saying. Maybe because you thinking because, okay, Saquon ain't the one that's been getting all these yards or whatever. But go back and look at the games. Most of their drives has been extended. It ain't been because of passing. It's because of number one. And people don't give number one the credit that they need to give number one. Number one is much better quarterback than people give him credit for. But I don't see them being a passing team no more than they are a running team. But I think just because those 8 games, those are outliers, I want to see on the back end. Watch and see how much this running game dominate the back end of the season.
You may be right about that. Time will tell. And that is the exact reason why I asked the question a few weeks ago whether or not is it stats or is it just win, baby, as it pertains to Jalen Hurts and what makes him one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL? Is it the dub or is it the numbers? And Jalen Hurts is the reason the Philadelphia Eagles are 6-2 and will be the repeat champions of the NFC East as well, in my opinion. Now, this next game,
I know it made your day.
It did not make my day. Although I was smiling the entire game. Just sitting on the couch like, go Cowboys. We asked the question on Friday, right? Whether or not the Cowboys can make that transition to being that team that can travel. We saw some improvement when they scrimmaged against Washington Commanders with all of those injuries, and that gave us the false sense of security that the Cowboys could actually be good and could go into Mile High Stadium. Well, and do some damage. We all saw the end result. The Cowboys defense proved to us once again why they are the worst defense in the National Football League, ladies and gentlemen, by going into Denver and giving up a fresh 40 burger against those Broncos. Ride, Broncos, ride. And, a lot of angry Cowboys fans had chips on their shoulders as to what is ailing this team. And Jerry Jones' consistent statement that we are just one player away. We're one player away. On defense from being a Super Bowl winning team. Griff, what happened to your team on Sunday, man?
I already took back. What didn't happen?
No. You said y'all was going into Denver.
No, I said the defense come and play the same way they played against the Commanders, we had a chance. But they didn't. I will tell you a couple of things that happened. One, go look at the Cowboys been looking pretty good this year. One, because we was able to run the ball. We only gave the ball to Javonte Williams 13 times this week. And people can say, well, the score this game was still within reach if we would have tried to run the ball, but we want to get pass happy. And then we're going 3 and out, turning the ball back over. And hell, Bo Nix even gave us a pick 6 in the beginning of the game. So, this is coaching, man. Coaching at its finest. look, we got people and I don't even like to make excuses because you know me, I'm talking about next man up. Yes, most of my secondary is coming from the practice squad. You can go look at it for yourself. Most of my guys, and even when we had the digs and all them in there, they were still getting butchered. I do not like the defensive scheme that Eberflus is allowed to run. This zone defense. Teams just tear it up. That's what Bo Nix did this weekend. He was just hitting receivers in spots. They just ate that daggone zone up, and we can't stop the run either. Quote unquote. We supposed that trade for Michael Parsons supposed to got us a run stopper. Well, again, another 100-yard rusher against us. I ain't see no run stop this weekend. Them boys was running. Matter of fact, I want to get the acronym. People be talking about other teams. I don't have no issue highlight other squads too. Yeah, man, that daggone J.K. Dobbins had with 15 carries, 111 yards, averaging 7.4 yards a carry. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. And then the other kid, Harvey, had 2 touchdowns on us. He was running the ball on us, man. It was sad, man. But you know what? That's why I got the Cowboys on protest. I don't go to no more games.
Protest.
I don't go. I ain't spending no more money at that stadium. I ain't buying no more jerseys or nothing. The Cowboys will always be my team, but I ain't giving Jerry my money.
No, you did not go there and tell that straight up lie that you are not going to support the Cowboys.
From the TV. Drew, I normally go to at least 2 games a year.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't been to a game in 2. The only way I go to a game, somebody else pay for. But as far as coming out of my funds, no, that's why Jerry keep on doing what he do to us. Because you know what? We continue to give Jerry money, and that's all he care about is money.
And Fred said, yet you still support him, and he's shaking his
head. Hey, he mine, and I'm going to stand beside it.
That's mine.
That's mine. And I'm going to say, the Cowboys is mine. Not Jerry, but the Cowboys is mine.
I feel you, man. But you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of every Cowboys fan that wears their heart on their sleeve, right? And every time that the Cowboys lose, they have this in their back pocket. Is that you?
No, I don't have no issues there because I ain't finna fight nobody. Hey, that's the one thing. I ain't finna go to jail for nobody because of the Cowboys, man.
But many people, I do not understand this. And Karen, you are not too late. I saw the note about you showing up a little bit tardy. You are not too late for me to get my humble pie on because that is still coming. But the Dallas Cowboys fans, y'all don't get into it. Yeah, you do get into it with other fans, but you get extremely emotional when y'all lose big games or what are considered to be big.
Not this one, man. Not this one.
Well, not you, but a vast majority of y'all begin to destroy.
I don't even like them Cowboy fans.
Y'all begin to destroy your own personal property, burning clothing and whatnot that you spend hundreds.
I'm telling you, man. I don't even like them Cowboy fans. I wish I would tear my TV up or burn somebody to spit money on. Man, you can forget that book. That ain't happening,
man. So before we move on to the next game, you still believe that this y'all year?
Yeah.
How about them Cowboys, ladies?
How about them Cowboys, baby?
All right, man. The other NFC East that played this weekend where the Washington Commanders played last night on Monday Night Football against those Kansas City Chiefs, those re-energized, the resurging Kansas City Chiefs, who seem to be healthier every single week now, or more and more healthy every single week. But with a backup quarterback, Marcus Mariota, who is a capable quarterback, were tied at the half at Arrowhead. And then the wheels fell off in the second half, which was somewhat expected, right? Because even with the 2 returning receivers for the Washington Commanders, the Kansas City defense kind of had them on lockdown and put enough pressure on Marcus Mariota, along with the offensive success that the Kansas City offense seems to be getting in stride with Rice, Worthy, and your favorite tight end,
Mr. Kelsey.
So We'll talk about this game at the end of the show, but what impressed you from the Kansas City side? Because we both said this was a scrimmage game for them, based off of the injuries we thought Washington had, both on the offensive and defensive side, and it somewhat turned into that. But what are you looking for the Kansas City Chiefs to keep them right there in the divisional fight between themselves, the Chargers, and the Broncos? Because we have a three-way race for the AFC West.
Hey man, they defense. If the Chiefs make it through, it's because not because of the offense look good. I mean, probably one of the best games I've seen Patrick Mahomes play in a while, man. The way that ball was spitting that ball, but they defense is gonna have to get them through these other teams in the AFC, such as the Colts and who was the other team in the AFC. But that's who they gonna have to get past. That's what I want to see. I want to see the defense improve. I knew when Rice came back that they was going to be a much better team, and they looked like a much better offense with Rice being back. But the defenses was going to have to get them through the gauntlet and make it to the top of the AFC. That's my take on it, Drew.
No, you're right. And the Chargers, the Broncos, the Colts, the Bills, and the Chiefs are all vying for that number one spot, right? Colts 6-1 or 7-1. Chargers and Broncos 6-2. The Chiefs are 4-3 or 5-3, and the Bills are 6-2 or somewhere around there. And all of these teams are vying for that number one spot in the AFC. And a big game this upcoming weekend between the Chiefs and the Bills is going to go a long way into settling that. Which team is better suited right now to be the beast in the AFC? I cannot wait to talk about that game. I cannot wait for that game to happen Sunday afternoon. But the Commanders, this unfortunately is going to be that season where they take a step back. They're not going to say have the same type of success that they had last season. Everyone did catch Jaden Daniels. Not necessarily the sophomore slump that you predicted at the beginning of the year, because with him healthy and McLaurin and Debo, they've shown you that they have an offense that can travel anywhere and put up points against anybody. So don't count them out. They're just not going to be another 12-5 team. They're more likely going to be a 10-7 team and play spoiler or sneak into the playoffs. But when JD gets back and stays healthy, and the receivers stay healthy, and that offense stays healthy, their defense is adequate enough to keep them in the game to where that offense can make all of the difference.
Because Lattimore got an interception last night. You was just as surprised as I was when you see that.
Hey, Marshawn Lattimore was a phenomenal DB in the first half of his career, even up to a couple of years ago. But the past couple of years, he been getting the business dealt to him. He's not that shutdown cornerback anymore. Big receivers do take advantage of him within his own division. Quarterbacks within his own division aren't afraid to go after him. So he's not a shutdown. He's not a liability, but he can get torched just like any other DB in the division. So Eagles will continue to lead this division, in my opinion. And I'll be surprised if the Cowboys can make a late season push. Now, these next set of games, man, teams, we talked about this on Friday, whether or not they were going to be able to save their season. Their season was literally on the line based off of the results of this weekend's game. We talked about the Bears traveling to B-more, Jordan's B-more, Karen's B-more to take on those Ravens, even though Lamar was ruled out on Saturday and Mr. Huntley was named the starter. We knew the game plan: get a ball to King Henry, get a ball to King Henry, get a ball to King Henry. He did get the ball 20-plus times, did have a very good run day, 80 yards somewhat, or close to that, a couple of touchdowns. And the Baltimore Ravens actually looked like they could be competitive. And when healthy, I won't say I understand Vegas picking them to come back and win the division. Griff said y'all ain't got no chance at all. But every game is a playoff game. We saw from the Chicago Bears the amount of improvements that they have made over the past calendar month. They've gone 4-0. They were one of the hottest teams in the National Football League. The Baltimore defense shut them down. I know you're not impressed with my man Caleb Williams, but how impressed are you, because you picked Chicago, how impressed are you with the Baltimore Ravens? And you said they don't have a shot, a prayer, a hope, but you want to reassess
So,
that, give them
so no, I'm not taking what I said back. First of all, I did say Chicago was going to win this game. I didn't do my research and realize that Huntley was starting instead of Cooper Rush. So that's on me. They look more like the Baltimore Ravens offense with Huntley playing. For the life of me, I've never understood why they started Cooper Rush in the first place when they had Huntley over there. It looked like Lamar was playing. As far as it wasn't so much his it looked like Lamar in his beginning years with them legs. Huntley was just as much a part of the running game as whatever. The reason why I say I just feel like the Ravens don't have a chance, and it's because of the defensive side of the ball. I mean, they played Caleb Williams, and I'm not even going to sit up here and say that Chicago been looking good. Yeah, they went 4-0, but look who they beat. Again, my team been gave them candy, and they really ain't played against squads.
That's true.
And Caleb Williams is not, to me, he is not that guy, and I don't see him getting better. That's just me, personally. But the Ravens got a huge hill to climb. The Bengals gave them somewhat of a chance by losing this weekend, and the Browns lost. Got Garrett over there tearing up helmets and stuff. But I think the Steelers is going to be okay in this division. I just think the Ravens got an uphill battle that's too much for them. And I think you can only spot a team or other team so many spots before you know it's going to be kind of hard to come back. And I think it's going to be kind of hard with all the injuries that they have on the defensive side of the ball to make an impact.
You know, in any normal season, I would say you're on to something and you're right. But this is not any normal season. And here's why I say that the Baltimore Ravens not only have a chance to come back and win in this division and understanding the logic that Vegas is using, but here's the reason why they're actually going to do it. The Pittsburgh Steelers' schedule for the second half of the season is up against a lot of teams with winning records in 2025. The Baltimore Ravens' second half of the season is against a lot of teams with losing records in 2025. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense's 2025 looks like the Dallas Cowboy defense in 2025, as well as the Baltimore Raven defense in 2025. But there is one thing that separates the Pittsburgh Steelers from the Baltimore Ravens. LJ8. When healthy, the best player in the National Football League, hands down, not even close. And a 42-year-old quarterback in Pittsburgh who is limited in his mobility. That is why the Baltimore Ravens are going to come back and win this division. And they're going to be a 10-7 division winner, but they're going to win this division. Harold said a 4-game winning streak for the Ravens and a 4-game losing streak for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is possible. Highly probable on the Steelers' schedule. Looking at the Ravens' schedule, you can make that assumption. And if Lamar stays healthy and the Ravens actually get back to running the ball like they're supposed to, I believe that is going to be the case. So, Ravens, y'all just might have saved your season this weekend. Now, this next game, man, down in your neck of the woods surprised me a little bit. We both picked San Francisco because how well San Francisco has been playing over the past month, even with all of the injuries they've gone through. Your guy, D'Amico Ryan, who is a former pupil of the San Francisco defense philosophy, welcomed them in and summarily shut them down. You surprised as to how well your Texans played with all of their injuries, or disappointed when how San Francisco showed up?
No, first of all, man, anything that the San Francisco 49ers do from this point with all the injuries that they got, I commend them. I was definitely surprised based off, and not my team, for the people that watch this show later. I am not a Texans fan, even though I reside in Houston. I am not a Texans fan. I was shocked how CJ actually played a decent game this weekend. I was definitely shocked by that play, man. But I really just thought the way the 49ers been figuring out a way to win all year, even with the injuries and the way how poorly the Texans have been playing. I think what helped them out was being at home, I guess, because I still don't see that. I mean, this is one of them outliers. The Texans going to be right back how they was prior to this weekend in their next game.
Really?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
you a little faith. Okay. So do you look for the San Francisco 49ers to continue to chug along? Right. I know that you said that whatever type of success that they can generate in this season based off of the current status of their roster with all of the injuries that not only are week to week injuries, but these are season ending injuries for superstar players on their team. And it is hard to fill that gap once that gap has been created, especially if it's a
Yeah.
superstar. It's not always next man up. It can only be that for so many, times. Can San Francisco compete in the NFC West with their injuries against a phenomenal Los Angeles Rams team that is getting healthier and a Seattle Seahawks team that has shown that they can not only play at home, but they can travel wherever and play well?
Yeah, I just think that with the games that they have left and then within that division, they're going to have troubles. Yes, Troy, the Texans do have one of the top defenses in the NFL, but the offense sucks. And ain't no other way I can put it other than the offense is going to be their problem. They got a great defense. But when I look at the remaining games that the 49ers got on their schedule, I mean, they got they got the Cardinals, they got the Panthers, they got the Browns, and they got the Titans. All them games they should win. But then on the flip side of it, they got the Seahawks, they got the Colts, and they got the Rams. And that's going to be tough right there for them. I think that they're going to have a winning season this year, but I don't think that they'll be making the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they might be one of those 9-8, 10-7 teams that kind of just get pushed out simply because of the goodness of what the NFC North has. And the two other teams in their division, as well as what we got down there in Philly. So, somewhat surprised that the Texans did save their season. They still have a lot of uphill battles to get through, as Griff mentioned, but they survived this past weekend. They get to live another weekend with their playoff dreams and hopes. So, they are still in it, at least currently. Now, the Bills and the Panthers. I'm more interested in how good the Bills look because we know that the Panthers are playing with a backup quarterback who was immobile, got a couple of sacks and gave up the ball, gave up some turnovers, and the Bills ended up piling up points. And the Panthers are still, to me, that middle of the road type of team, right? Even with Andy Dalton subbing in for Bryce Young this past weekend, they're still going to be a 500-ish type of team for me. But how the Bills looked in the run game against a very good Panthers defense, or I won't say very good, but good enough to be competitive, and the success that James Cook had this past weekend. Can the Bills continue to build off of that and create that separation beginning this upcoming weekend against the Chiefs? And what are you looking from your NFL MVP, Josh Allen, to lead his team to another number one seed in the AFC?
I love how you put these titles on me, man. I love it, man. I appreciate you, my brother.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
I did predict him winning the MVP last year, when everybody else say he
That
was.
you did. That you did. Yeah.
I predicted that, man. But I would say one, man. When you got Andy Dalton giving the ball away the way he was giving away this weekend, you supposed to win. But then on top of that, they did what they should. Get a ball to James Cook, man. I know you want Josh Allen to be that guy, man, but you don't have to make it hard, man. James Cook had an excellent game this week. He ran for 212 yards or something like that. It was like he was out there on the field all by himself, brother. Uh, will they? I don't think they're gonna have as much success. When him and Mahomes come together, it's always a good game, especially within the playoffs. But Mahomes always figure out a way to beat him when it comes to the playoffs. In the regular season, Josh normally get him. But I still don't. They haven't showed me that they can stop the run. In this game right here, Carolina Panthers has two good running backs, but the score had got so out of hand that running was out of the question. So We know what Rico Dowd could have done, but by with all the turnovers and stuff, I think the Bills still got an uphill climb as far as within the AFC. I know some people might think otherwise, thinking they might be one of the teams, but I just don't. They offense, because all you really got to do, if you can shut that run down, that run game down, the Bills got some problems. Because who you throw the ball to, and you can't be one dimensional when you get on the back end. That's all I'm saying. You got to be able to. You got to be able to. If one thing ain't working, then something else got to be working on the back end.
Well, one of the reasons why Josh Allen was named the NFL MVP in 2024 was that he was able to cook with very little ingredients, according to Griff. Because I remember that conversation.
Yeah.
And you ask, and the reason that I bring this up, because you ask, who will you throw the ball to? Shakur is a number one receiver for that team. Keon Coleman is a up and coming young receiver. Yes, he is inconsistent, but we know that when big plays are available, he makes them. The tight end passing game is on point because that is Josh's Allen security blanket, and he, no matter what type of receivers he has available to him, is going to be able to get them the ball because he has that gut. Historically speaking, the Bills, you are correct, play very well against the Chiefs in the regular season. This game next weekend is at Orchard Park Sunday afternoon. So look for the Bills offense to have just as much success that they've had throughout the year. But that defense, as you mentioned, that cannot stop the run. And if the Chiefs are able to get the run established, the Bills better be able to put up 45. They better be able to put 45 up on the board, because this is going to turn into one of those racetrack type of games where defense be damned. It's going to be the two quarterbacks putting on a show. Looking forward to it. But they still are one of the top three teams in the AFC for me. Now, man, this last one, say it with me, Griff. Jets, Jets are finally off the snide. They were the worst, best 0-7 team in the history of the National Football League, going against historically the worst, best team every year in the Cincinnati Bengals, because no matter how good and proficient that offense is, no matter who the quarterback is, because they can put up 30 points in the blink of an eye, but that defense going to always tell them, hold my beer, I'm about to give up 35 or 40. And guess what? This is exactly what happened this past weekend. Up by 14 in the fourth quarter, playing against the Jets, who have yet to taste a victory for their rookie head coach. So they don't know how to come back. With a quarterback who was called out by the team owner and Woody Johnson talking about, if he could just complete a pass, we might have a chance. I got thoughts about that, but I'll leave that for a conversation on another time. Took all of that, chewed on it, and focused on what the task was at hand, and led his team to not only a fourth quarter comeback, resulting in a 38-39 victory against, again, a defense that is atrocious, always competing for the worst defense in the league title every single year. But
we got it this year though. They ain't got to worry about it. We got it comfortably. They good.
Got it this year. This is what we mean when y'all say this is our year. This is our year to be the worst defense. You're right.
We got them.
Hey, so congratulations to the Jets, man. You see them making any trades before the trading deadline to kind of offload some of their superstars to plan for the future?
Man, I hope so, man. I would love to get a Quentin Williams or somebody like that over there on my defense. That could definitely change the dynamics of the squad, man. But hey, they definitely have some players on their team that some other teams will definitely be looking at to try to get to make a playoff run. Man, the Bengals should be ashamed of themselves, because again, I mean, they own the game until the fourth quarter. Then the rest of that game, the fourth quarter was all Jets. 230. The Jets had over 234 yards rushing. That's crazy, man.
You bring up a good question, though, specifically about your team. And I know this is a game about the Jets, but real quick, to improve the Dallas Cowboys defense and your opportunities before the trade deadline, you mentioned Quentin Williams. That would definitely help on the defensive front. How about Sauce Gardner? How about we go after Sauce to kind of shore up that back end and give us a fighting chance against passing or the opposing quarterback in the pass game, where Sauce most often can lock down that number one receiver. How about y'all do that?
I like Sauce, man, but my thing is, if you don't have a pass rush, I don't care how good a DB you are.
You're
Because
right.
the DB is at a disadvantage, man. The DB is
Right.
always going to be at a disadvantage. If most of these teams that look good is because they got a pass rush, and when them pass rushes, they throw the quarterback's timing and stuff off. Sauce gonna be out there flapping. He is not Reeves Island. He ain't
No,
Satine this year.
no.
He has his play done dropped off a little bit too, and some of it could be because of frustration or whatever. But if I had a choice between Sauce and Quinn Williams, I'm getting Quinn Williams because I know I got a pass rusher and I got somebody that can stop and run.
No,
Which
you
will help the back end.
Yeah, front line is your number one option on defense. Do you believe Jerry will do anything before the trade deadline? Yes or no?
No, like you said,
He said,
it'll shock the hell out of me, man. I'll be surprised.
"All right, man. How about them Cowboys?" All right, so that concluded the games in Week 8 for the NFL. Phenomenal games, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of surprises. Most of those were games that you would predict if you got a little bit of knowledge under your belt. Injuries continue to happen to key players, and teams have to be able to pivot, shift left, shift right, and as Griff always mentioned, next man up. Going into Week 9, starts off Thursday night. We talked about the Ravens throughout this show. Karen, your team. This is your make it or break it game, your first playoff game going into Miami, Lamar's hometown, Lamar's return. So he's looking to put on a show, understanding that this is a must-win game for his team, taking on a Miami team that is beleaguered in every aspect of the term beleaguered, from the front office, head coach, assistant coaches, quarterback, offensive line, offense in general, defense in general. This team is just in flux. How competitive do you see this game? And is it a game that we can turn off by halftime? Because Lamar should be fresh, ready to come back and put points on the board. Or do you look for this game to drag on and have Jordan frustrated all Thursday night?
I look for the latter. I mean, honestly, man, all
Karen
those,
is confident. Karen,
and I love that confidence, man. But we didn't had a bad thing. If you think about it this year, I don't think we had not one bad Thursday night football game this year. I think I done had to watch. I had to stay up the whole night, all the way to the end of the games on all the Thursday night games, and I don't think it's gonna be no different. Miami, as bad as they didn't look, they still had the ability to do what they gotta do. And I think Achan is gonna probably have a good game against this Baltimore Ravens defense. Because that's one constant. We just don't know what Tua gonna show up. Is it gonna be the Tua that's gonna be throwing interceptions, or is it gonna be the Tua that's gonna be getting the ball to Water and some of those other guys? And we don't know how healthy Lamar is. Because again, if your season on the line, why is Lamar sitting on the sideline this past weekend? If he was as healthy as you say he was, unless they had already conceded, if you ask me. I think we're gonna have a pretty tight game this weekend. But because of all the disarray that's going on in Miami right now, I would still have to get an edge to Baltimore. I mean, I picked Baltimore to win this game, but I don't think it's gonna be a blowout.
Yeah, Baltimore should win this game. They should win this game comfortably. Karen says she's confident. Jordan says he's confident. All of the other Ravens fans believe in Lamar's return. And him not playing on Sunday, being limited in practice last week with a short turnaround to play on Thursday night, and looking at how competitive the Chicago Bears have been, who they've beaten over the past month, and what they thought Derrick Henry could do against that Bears defense was part of the decision-making, a major part of the decision-making process for Lamar Jackson to sit out.
Derrick Henry could have been doing that against all the other teams they played against. They refused to get the ball to him.
I know. So, I got you. But Ravens should win this game. We both in agreement. It should not be a nail biter, as Griff has said. We should be able to go to sleep on Thursday night rather early with the game.
Troy said this is the fire the coach game. I'm thinking he talking about McDonald. So,
McDaniel, yeah. Because,
so
the Miami Dolphins have been there every year fighting against injury, but when they were healthy, they have been a competitive team,
yeah.
unless it was below 40 degrees. But this year, everything has fallen off, right? You got number one receiver is gone for the year, and everything else is up in the air. Go ahead.
Jordan gave a statistic, man. Baltimore don't do good in Miami, though. I'm still picking the Ravens, but Jordan gave me a statistic in the green room. I think they 0-8 in Miami.
Man, that was years and years and years ago.
I'm just saying.
LJ, 8 is great, baby. Lamar going back home to show out. Trust and believe. He going to have 200 yards passing, 75 plus yards rushing, a couple of passing touchdowns, and possibly a running touchdown himself.
Hey, he better stay off South Beach.
What's cracking, Leonard Cobb? How we doing on this fine evening, good sir? Now, great upcoming weekend in football. 2 nights from tonight, we're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens earn this dub or have their season go up in flames. Sunday, we're going to talk about this. Friday, we're going to talk about the Chiefs against the Bills on Sunday and all of the other key games. But this past weekend in college football, the Contenders continued to contend, and the Pretenders got slapped around, no matter the location. And we're going to talk about some Pretenders here tonight. Focusing in on the Southeastern Conference. Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebs suffered their first L last weekend against the Georgia Bulldogs in a game that they could have and most likely should have won. Going up against a Oklahoma Sooner team that suffered their first L against the Texas Longhorns in the Red River rivalry. Both of these two teams have aspirations to make it to the playoffs, but we believe that Lane Kiffin was looking for a little bit of revenge and making sure that his team not only went into Norman and got this dub, but came out of this game not only more proficient, but more playoff ready. Did the Ole Miss Rebels prove to you that they are a playoff team and are going to be in the playoff this year based off of what you saw this past weekend?
Oh, they're going to make it to the playoffs strictly because of their record and being in the SEC. Their offense was able to do something this week that they weren't able to do against Georgia, and that was being able to not get taken out in the fourth quarter of the game. Chambers had a much better fourth quarter in this game than he did in the Georgia game, where Ole Miss looked like they was going to just go ahead and take that win against Georgia. I am not a fan of Ole Miss making it too far, and it's because of their defense and who their defensive coordinator is. Used to be Nick Saban's former defensive coordinator, Golden over there. But the offense, Lane Kiffin going to always have a great offense. He always going to have schemes, man, but I just don't think their defense is going to get them through too far in the playoffs. But they will be in the playoffs because of their current record, beating Oklahoma and being in the SEC.
Right. And they're most likely going to make the playoffs with at least a 10-2 record. Because I still believe they're going to take another L before the season's over. So,
hey, Harold did make, man. I mean, and as much as I want to beat up their defensive court, hey, Lane did do some stupid stuff, man. Lane went for it like on 4th and 2 on his own 20. I'm like, wow, on 4th, man. I'm like, man, you got to be kidding. But that's what makes Lane though.
Exactly. Because I can understand the argument. Because you made it, you said it yourself in your commentary. Lane is always going to put an offense on the field that can get yardage. They can get yardage. They can get you into field goal range at a minimum, right? And they are extremely proficient at putting points on the board. So going for it on your own 20, on 4th down, when you're playing another SEC powerhouse, that's ultimate confidence in what your team can do. He takes chances. We know that about Lane. That's why many teams are going to be chasing Lane over the next couple of months, because he is a chance taker that usually produces fruit. more often than not. So, no congratulations here. Moving on, Harold. I know that's your team, but no congratulations here. The next game that I'm not going to offer any congratulations for was a much more interesting game that both Griff and I even thought was possible. This was a game that had me on pins and needles. I was pulling for the home team, whew, just so that we can have an interesting conversation on Tuesday night. But hey, the better team won. The better team won. If not,
I thought I see you. I thought I see you in the student section, getting ready to run on the field.
bro, I had it ready, Griff. You just don't know, man. If not for that late fourth quarter turnover, which you got to give props to that young man. He went after that ball and dug it out of Sellers' hand just before he hit the ground. Congrats! No, what are you looking from your Heisman hopeful, your Heisman front runner? He lead y'all. This is the question: can he lead y'all to the SEC title? Because it's SEC title or a bust for the Alabama Crimson Tide at this point, right? I'm already putting you in the SEC championship game. Okay. Can y'all win the toughest conference in the country and possibly national championship?
I think we possibly. No, ain't no thing. I know that we'll be there and we'll win the game. I just, to win those type of games, to be in the championship game, you got to win these type of games sometimes. All of them ain't gonna be pretty. This one of the best performers of Ty Simpson this year. Almost, matter of fact, it almost looked like the performance in the FSU game. But I still think that you have to win these type of games sometimes to make it to those championship games. And I think we're gonna be okay. I would like to see us establish a running game, man. I mean, that is the problem with us. We have no running game whatsoever. We got that big boy over there who was the primary receiver in this game. Hill, 6'2", 240 some pounds. I think it's about time to let that kid start running the ball. Defense bend, but it didn't break, man. But I think we're gonna be okay. Big shout out to South Carolina, man. I told you on Friday. I said I didn't see this be a easy win for us because one, you on the road, and two, that damn Seller scared me, man. Seller scared me, and that boy is hard to bring down. We had him in our hands quite a few times. The thing that Alabama really got to be able to do too is be able to stop the run, man. I'm telling you, we don't do. That's one of our Achilles' heels, but we'll be there. We'll be there. We'll represent the SEC well.
I agree that y'all are going to be there. Odd stat for Sellers, right? I agree that he is just one of those quarterbacks that is extremely difficult to get down. When South Carolina played LSU, Sellers had 22 yards rushing. But for those 22 yards, they tallied up all of his scrambling yards, running around, escaping the lineman and everything. Throughout the game, he ran 798 yards to gain 22 yards. That lets you know that he does not have any quit in him. That lets you know that the South Carolina Gamecocks, if not for being in the SEC, would be one of those teams that you will be looking at that could possibly sneak into the playoffs. But they play against much better teams in the Southeastern Conference. But they are one of the better bottom half teams in the conference. They're not a conference powerhouse, Troy. You still have that team that is going to go to a bowl game and most likely play against another Big Ten opponent and most likely win that bowl game because of that type of quality of playmakers that Beamer Ball brings to Columbia. This game was closer than I thought it was going to end up being, to be honest. I thought South Carolina had a chance. Again, turnovers. But it is what it is.
I was on life support, bro. I ain't going to lie. Not only was I on life support, I said, please don't let this come down to this field goal kicker.
Said, please.
I'm telling you, hey, we don't have Will Riker no. We don't have the SEC all-time scoring champion no more, man. Will Riker play with Minnesota now, man. Mm-hmm. Our field goal kicker can't kick nothing over 40 yards. I was like, man, this moment too big. Please, we got to score. I don't want no field goal. Get a touchdown. And that play that they ran with Bernard at the back end, some people say it's rigged because the defensive player didn't hit him. but they was already told let him score so we can get the ball back.
Right.
A lot of people
That's strategy. Yeah.
It's been a conspiracy all week. Oftentimes, like Jesse Palmer was talking about, all he had to do was get down South Carolina and have no more timeouts.
Right.
No,
Right.
the coach knew that he couldn't depend on that kicker. Man,
Right.
we got to score a touchdown here.
Exactly. And you play to win the game. South Carolina intentionally let Alabama score so that they can have an opportunity with the remaining 35, 40 seconds.
They actually had 59 seconds left. They had 59 seconds left.
Yeah, no, that was just coaching strategy. Nothing wrong with that. That kicking game is going to be something of concern when it comes to playoff time. We'll talk about that in weeks to come. Now, the game between the Vanderbilt Commodores and the Missouri Tigers was an interesting game for me. I picked Missouri to go into Vanderbilt and pull off a slight upset against the Vanderbilt Commodores. This was a back and forth game. The Missouri Tigers had their chances. If not for the injury to their quarterback, we don't know how this game would have turned out. But Pavia did Pavia things again this past weekend and led Vanderbilt to not only a key SEC victory late in their season, but had Vanderbilt legitimately being talked about a playoff team, Griff. They are a playoff team. Playoffs. Vanderbilt. Playoffs.
I wouldn't want to see him again. That's all I'm gonna say. I wouldn't want to. As an Alabama fan,
that is the one team in the country nobody wants to play.
I wouldn't want to see him again.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna keep it real with you. You're right. The difference in this game was Mizzou's quarterback getting hurt.
Yeah, man. This is that one team that nobody wants to see on their schedule in the playoffs if they do make the playoffs. I'm surprised as to the quick turnaround with the Vanderbilt Commodores in 2024 and 2025 because of Pavia's addition. And he came from a JUCO, right? It's not like he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school or a big name transfer. He came from a small JUCO, junior college, and turned this thing around on its head.
That win last year against Alabama turned this whole program around, bro.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to believe in yourself when other people don't. And he has always been an underdog everywhere he been, and all he's done is perform everywhere he been.
You're absolutely right. So, interesting to see how the Vanderbilt Commodores are going to finish off 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every player's career where he has to hang up the cleats and make the decision that I've given the sport every single thing that I possibly can, and I have to move on with my life. Whatever that is, whatever path that particular player decides to take, whether it's at the Pop Warner level, whether it's at the high school level, whether it's at the collegiate level, or after having a successful professional career. And that player does that. But more often than not, we get these football coaches that get recycled or pursued after simply based off of perceived success. And I'm talking about my guy, former LSU Tiger head coach Brian Kelly, who I have been passionately calling for the dismissal of for well over a year now, because even when Brian Kelly was hired way back in 2021, I said he was the wrong fit. He was not worth the $10 million price tag that came along with his head coaching success that he had at Notre Dame. We know Notre Dame plays one of the softest schedules in NCAA every year. They got 2 or 3 big games, and the rest of their schedule is soft. So those wins that he had accumulated over his tenure as the Notre Dame head coach, they were suspect to me. Even though he was the winningest coach in Notre Dame history, their schedule is not equivalent to what you see in the SEC. And that's what he was pursuing when he took the LSU job. When LSU pursued after him, he took the job in 2021, came down to Baton Rouge to the Red Stick and said, hey, I am here to win a natty, win a national title. But playing or being a coach in the SEC, as Griff knows very well, in the state of Alabama, as Griff knows very well, especially for me in the state of Louisiana, it is not an X and O's type of thing. You have to ingrain yourself in the community. You have to ingrain yourself in the culture, and you have to understand the fan base that you are coaching for. Where it is 8-4 is a successful year for me. No, that's mediocre in the SEC. 9-3 is a successful year for me. No, that's mediocre in the SEC. We look at the past 3 LSU head coaches. Starting off just this century, Nick Saban led the LSU Tigers in the early 2000s, 2003 to a national championship. In his second, third, or fourth year, he moved on to the Miami Dolphins and then eventually to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Following Nick Saban, you had Les Miles coming in from Oklahoma State, understanding that there is a culture here in Louisiana that I have to ingrain myself in. I have to become a part of, and I have to have the mentality that this type of football is all about toughness, aggression, and consistency, and the willingness to go the extra mile. Les Miles, in his 4 years, produced a national championship, and after those first 4 years, went back to a national championship game against those very same Alabama Crimson Tide and got shut the hell out. Part of the reason he had to move on. Following him was Ed Ogeron, hometown kid, grew up in Louisiana, went to Nicholls State, in Thibodaux, Louisiana, Nicholls State. Went through the farm system, different collegiate coaching positions, different NFL positions with the Saints, but captured lightning in a bottle and had the best single season in the history of the NCAA in the 2019 LSU Tigers, his national title. In comes Brian Kelly, who says, I'm here to win a natty. I'm here to bring the trophy home. We all see the record that is displayed on the screen, 34-14. Many people might say, well, that's not bad. That's mediocre in the SEC. That is mediocre for an LSU head coach. We see his 3 predecessors all had more success. They all made it to the national title game. They all won the national title game. Brian Kelly hasn't even made it to the playoffs. After losing against the Texas A&M Aggies on Saturday night at Death Valley, where supposedly opponents' dreams come to die, the LSU Tigers finally came to the realization that Brian Kelly is not the guy to lead us to our next national championship as pertains to the head football coach and all of the perks that come along with such a title. So he was promptly relieved, and I do mean promptly relieved, of his duties after the game on Saturday, because there is no way that a Tiger home game against a SEC opponent, a nationally ranked SEC opponent, should end with the fans being gone at the end of the fourth quarter. Wrong answer. Brian Kelly wouldn't even allow back in the building on Sunday morning when he showed up to work. His fingerprint did not work. He had to go through hoops just to get inside the building, to get escorted to his office, to get called to the principal's office, and then be told, you are no longer required to be here, sir. Thank you for your services. God bless. Good night. We move on. I know his contract was a $54 million contract owed to him, but the team or the university, not the team, the university and Mr. Kelly came to a buyout agreement where he gets paid $20 million instead of that 54, using the morals clause portion of the contract. All right. Morals clause. So it's good that Brian Kelly is gone. He was the wrong guy from jump. He did not fit the culture. Former players did not like him. Current players did not like him. Current coaching staff members did not like him and his approach, his laissez-faire approach to the toughness aspect. He fired the conditioning coach who brought LSU or was part of the LSU's championships for the past 3 head coaches, fired him on day one. Guess where that man is at now? Texas A&M. Guess what Texas A&M has done to LSU the past couple of years? Beat them down like stepchildren. Brian Kelly being fired, good. But he was not the only person that I was calling for the relief of. LSU's offense looked like a Les Miles offense. I've been saying it for weeks. Joe Sloan, the former offensive coordinator, had that vanilla offense and have refused to improve on it. No matter what the reason, you were not putting this $18 million NIL team. $18 million, and y'all are 4-3, 5-3. Not competing for a playoff position at LSU, unacceptable. So I'm glad that Joe Sloan has been relieved. The interim head coach has been introduced. He was introduced on Sunday, Mr. Frank Wilson, who was the running back coach, part of the LSU system with Les Miles as well as with Brian Kelly. But the difference between Frank Wilson and Brian Kelly is Frank Wilson is Louisiana, is of the community, grew up in New Orleans, another graduate of Nickel State University, in Thibodaux, the hometown of the late Kyron Lacy. May he continue to rest in paradise and glory. He went to Kyron Lacy's family after Kyron Lacy suddenly unalived himself. Not one word from Chip or Brian Kelly. Not one word from Brian Kelly when the defensive back Jones got injured. Not one word from Brian Kelly with other players on that team were injured. He was not a leader. I said it weeks ago. Not a leader of men, could not produce future leaders because he is a self-indulged person. His own players did not like him. His own team did not like him, and I'm glad that he's gone. Welcoming in Mr. Frank Wilson. He will be the interim coach for the rest of the year and possibly in 2026, and I'm looking forward to the re-energized atmosphere that is surrounding LSU football because just like Alabama, it's we got to win. And LSU, we got to win. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Mr. Frank Wilson brings to the table. Griff, I apologize for kind of dragging this on as it pertains to my team, but that's my team. I'm invested, and we know how we feel about our teams. Now, it was not the only team that has just handed its big name coach this year, right? We've had 8 teams from the Power Four conferences just go through coaches like they're going through jersey changes like my name is Fred or something, because I got a closet full of different jerseys. 8 teams, well-established head coaches, as we are seeing on the screen, well-established head coaches with credentials that even though I talked about Brian Kelly, they are still winning coaches over the longevity of their career. LSU, the University of Florida, Penn State, Arkansas, UCLA, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, and Stanford, all part of the Big Four. Out of these 4 or 8 teams, pick 3 and talk about what the next coach needs to do to get that team back into the playoff conversation immediately in 2026.
First of all, let me say, man, hey, no need to apologize. Hey, hey, show me a picture of a Joker that don't like their coach without saying they don't like their coach. You need to get that off your chest. You probably been holding that all weekend, so we needed you to get that off your chest, man. And Jordan, thank you for showing my book. Look, man, of all those schools, I think the Florida, Penn State, and LSU is the 3 schools where the person that comes in and coach those teams, they got to understand the culture. They're gonna be expected to win when they get to those programs. And so they're gonna probably need to bring some of the old players back, some of the old coaches from previous years when they had that winning mentality. But those are the 3 jobs that, hey, it's like going in behind a Nick Saban at the University of Alabama. The people going to be expecting winning right off the bat. They ain't looking for no, hey, you got a couple of years to rebuild and nothing like that. So of all the teams that you just throwed up there on the screen, Florida, LSU, and Penn State, those coaches are going to be looked at to win immediately and bringing the winning culture back to those schools.
Yeah, you're right. And Troy, there might be just a little bit of dislike for how Brian Kelly has coached this team. I don't know the man to not like him individually, but as a head coach for the LSU Tigers, horrible, just horrible. And I'm absolutely happy that he has been summarily dismissed. Penn State head coach or the relieved Penn State head coach, he is not coming down to LSU. He is not SEC material. Nope. Stay up there in the Far East. You are Big Ten material. You would James Franklin. He wouldn't make it in the SEC. Nope.
He coached Vandy, man. He coached in the SEC, man. He's an SEC guy.
Who? Where?
Franklin was in the SEC, man. He coached Vandy.
Who?
He coached Vandy. Vandy had, when he was there, Vandy was somewhat of a team a little bit, man. You know what I'm saying? So he has SEC experience. Let's put it. He has more SEC experience than Brian Kelly had. How about that?
Yeah, but at the same time, prior to 2024, what was Nick Saban's thoughts about Vandy? Exactly. So that doesn't count.
Okay.
So yeah, man. I'm interested to see who gets hired where. We know Lane Kiffin is going to be the belle of the debutante of the ball for the rest of the regular season, the playoffs season, and immediately following as it pertains to his future plans as a head coach, whether or not he wants to stay in Oxford and possibly look to compete for a national championship with the Ole Miss Rebs, or get lured away by another SEC powerhouse in either LSU or the University of Florida if those two head coaching positions haven't been filled. I mentioned Frank Wilson is already the interim head coach for the LSU Tigers for 2025 and possibly 2026 as well. We'll see how that works out. So Lane Kiffin could probably be staying where he is or looking elsewhere.
I would tell you what, if Lane went to, I wouldn't see Penn State in Lane's future, but if he was to leave Ole Miss, if he went to Florida or LSU, the recruiting at those two schools would change immediately, and they would be some teams to be afraid of. I mean, he had Ole Miss, but again, everybody ain't trying to go to Mississippi. The Jokers trying to go to LSU, and they trying to go to Florida, so that would be something right there.
Yeah. I mean, realistically speaking, and I'm not being a homer here when I say this, LSU is the number one spot for any head coach that wants to land a job in 2026, simply because of what comes with the tag of being the LSU head coach. You had top tier facilities. You have boosters that know how to go into their pockets and come out of their pockets for not only the coaching staff, but like I said, an $18 million NIL put together team where the talent is going to be there. The talent is there in the state. You just have to be able to put it on the field and turn that into success. Now, the game of the weekend in the National Football League, ladies and gentlemen, is the Buffalo Bills hosting the Kansas City Chiefs, a very hot Kansas City Chiefs team, after they have reassembled all of the guys, so to speak, right? Rashid Rice is back. The passing game looks like it's getting back on track with Worthy and Kelsey and the other receivers on that team. The run game is eventually going to be a staple with Pachinko and the rest of the running core. And Patrick Mahomes being the West or one of the top two quarterbacks, not only in this century, but possibly in the history of the National Football League, leading that team. Can they go into Orchard Park against Griff's MVP and knock off a Buffalo Bills team that is so desperate to get over that hump and take down their Goliath, the Kansas City Chiefs? What do you think the Bills have to do this weekend at home to beat one of the hottest teams in the National Football League, the Kansas City Chiefs, who have won their past 5 or 6 games?
Run the ball and keep Patrick Mahomes and that offense off the field. That's gonna always be my secret. Again, I know we're gonna talk about this more on Friday, but to answer your question, being able to get cook that ball and being able to keep Patrick Mahomes and that offense off the field.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to say the least, right? Can Patrick Mahomes continue this success that he has put together over the past 5 weeks, right? We've been waiting and waiting and waiting and say, well, when Rice comes back, we're going to be at full throttle. They showed that in the second half of the game last night. Their first real competition this upcoming weekend where they are almost at 100%. And the team that they are playing against is not only almost at 100% themselves, but is one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the AFC. Is going to be a excellent measuring stick for both of these two teams to see who has the mid-season leg up on the opposite team and as well as the rest of the AFC, because whoever wins this game on Sunday, a lot of people are going to be saying on Monday, well, this is the best team in the AFC. I don't care if the Indianapolis Colts are 7-1. I don't care if the Los Angeles Chargers are 6-2. I don't care if the Denver Broncos are 6-2. This is the best team in the AFC. Prove me wrong. And then that debate will happen throughout the week until the next big game. So looking forward to it, looking forward to the conversation on Friday and how this game turns out. And hopefully the officials do not play a part and there are no key injuries to key players that will decide this game. So great, great, great game on the lineup this weekend. Now, we've come to the part of the show where every now and then I like to carve out a little bit of space to talk about things that may or may not be pertaining to football. And this obviously does not have anything pertaining to football. I'm going to talk about the power to vote and what is to be the most important statewide election across many of the states in this country, if not all of the states, whether it's a statewide election or a major metropolitan city equivalent election, or a county election, or a parish election if you live in the state of Louisiana, or a local municipality level election in your hometown next Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025. It is election day. We all know, and I don't want to give a civics lesson to the roundtable audience. For most of us that are viewing, we all know the importance of elections, and elections have consequences. There are roughly 350 plus million people who reside in the United States. Out of that 350 plus million people who reside in the United States, 240 plus million people are eligible to vote, meaning that they are above the age of 18, 18 and over, possess the mental faculties to be able to formulate a thought process to cast the ballot. Depending on the state and what the state requirements are, whether you've had issues that may have come in the past to where it has created a barrier, but you still could be eligible. In the 2024 presidential election, and I hate to revisit the past, but I'm going to revisit the past just to make a point. The current president received 77 plus million votes. The former vice president received 75 plus million votes. That is roughly 152 million plus votes, leaving a whopping 90 plus million votes that were not cast. A whopping 90 plus million votes were not cast. The largest voting bloc in the United States is the non-voter. And ladies and gentlemen, when you don't vote, you are voting. Ladies and gentlemen, when you say that I don't do politics, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that politics does you every single day and in every single way. You have to, and I'm here on this Tuesday night with my heart in my hand, with my hand extended, asking each and every eligible voter to ensure, no matter where you live, because we all live somewhere, we all live in a community, we are all part of a community, to take your civic responsibility, your civic obligation seriously, and to Register to vote if you have not already registered, regardless of where you live. If registration is still open in your area, if you have registered to vote and have not yet voted, please ensure that you cast your ballot no later than 4 November. Please ensure that you educate yourself on who is running in whatever race that is on your ballot, what that person stands for, what his or her or their beliefs are, and how voting for that person will impact your life. How voting for that person will impact the lives of the family members that you care about, those community members that you care about and you love, right? Because that is who this vote is for, along with yourself. Voting in statewide elections is actually more important and more critical than voting in national elections, because statewide elections, county elections, parish elections, local city elections are the ones that impact you on a day-to-day basis. No matter what the election is, we have a civic responsibility to vote for it. Why? Because those that came before us fought, many suffered, many died for not only the right for them to vote, but for their descendants to vote, which is you. So please do not take the civic responsibility that we have to be an active participant in our country lightly. This is our country. It's 350 plus million of us. Do not allow 80 to 100 million of us dictate how our country is run. We have all seen firsthand and experienced in one way or another the results of the 2024 presidential election negatively, whether it's affected our employment with the millions and millions of jobs that have been lost, whether it has affected our communities where programs that were once there are no longer there because the federal government has chosen to not support those anymore. Whether it tonight, Jamaica going through a Category 5 hurricane. We know that the United States is susceptible to natural disasters, whether it's hurricanes, whether it's volcano eruptions, whether it's tornadoes. It's not going to stop. And we have seen our federal government make the conscious decision to not come to the relief of those who are enduring these natural disasters in 2025 and beyond. You have to vote. You have to vote. Politics does you every single day. You are abdicating your responsibility. Now, what's important in this upcoming election? Your freedom is literally on the ballot. Your individual freedom is literally on the ballot. Why do I say that? For the 98% of us in America who go by our business on a day-to-day basis and just live our lives, we are the ones who get impacted. The other 2%, they're well off. They're not going to worry about it, right? 98% of us live our lives on a day-to-day basis based off of our vote. 2016, 2020, and 2024. 3 national elections that have gotten us to where we are. We cannot blame anybody but ourselves because we either participated, chose a particular candidate, or didn't care enough to participate. Where the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Rights Act are being dismantled by the United States Supreme Court right before our very eyes. Every other right and or privilege that we thought that we may have had is being taken away on a day-to-day basis. You are now being told who you can love, how you can love them, who you can reside with, how you can reside. And we don't think that is serious enough for us to be active participants. And I'm speaking directly to the 90 plus million of us who chose to sit out this past election. We got it. We all learned from our past experiences. But from this day forward, we need to take our required obligation to vote. So if you have not yet voted in the 2025 election in whatever capacity at your state level, find out what's on the ballot before next Tuesday. Make sure you're registered. Make sure you do your research. and cast the ballot, because your freedom is on the line. The luxuries that we thought we had, the rights that we think we currently have for ourselves, our family, our loved ones, our community is on the line. If we don't vote, we get what we get, and you don't complain about it because you did not allow your voice to be heard. You are the ones standing in the gap for the next generation. The kids can't vote. We need to be the ones to vote for legislators who would take into consideration what is at stake in the moment where we live. We all cringe every time we hear about a school shooting, every time we hear about a mass shooting. We cannot complain unless we do our part. And voting is only one part. You have to make sure you hold those elected officials to the standard. We see it now with the government shutdown. We see it now across private industry where businesses are going just under. Entire states are now in the red because of their decision to vote against their own personal interests. We can fix it, but democracy is on the line at the local level, at the community level, at the state level. We have to take this responsibility seriously. There is no excuse. The government and those that are in charge are doing what they promised their constituents that they were going to do. We are depending on this 90 plus million who sat out in the 2024 election. The world is depending on you. I BS you not when I say the world is depending on you. Just a couple of weeks ago, there were protests and rallies all across this country. 7 to 10 million people in every major metropolitan area and or city. Phenomenal display of unity among people. But you had those very same protests in other areas in the world. That's what I mean when I say that the world is counting on you. So please, 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 please take this responsibility seriously. Please register to vote. Your voice must be heard. Your voice does matter. Your vote does matter, because if it didn't, there would not be billions upon billions of dollars put into a system to try to get you not to vote. It is not only your right, you're required to participate in your community. So please do so. Please do so. All right. I just had to get that off my chest, man. As we say, sometimes you just got to say what's on your heart. And I know we were talking before the show, Griff, about how important it is to vote. And before we go off tonight, I want to make sure that I give you that opportunity to share how important it is to you as well. So I'll turn it over to you.
Hey, man. Hey, look, again, as always, man, our platform is bigger than just football. I mean, I know some people just want us to talk football, but, sometimes it's our civic duty, as you say, to get on here and talk other things. As you can see, I got my stick on. I went and did early voting today here in Texas. And the one thing I will say, people get so caught up in the federal elections, but I think you hit it on the head. Your local and state elections are way more important than federal elections. And so if you don't vote, you voted. And I'll leave it at that, man. I think you said it so well, you articulated it so well. I don't want to sit up here and try to shame anybody and doing anything, but you articulated it so well. So many people have paid the price so that you can have the right to vote. And the only way you can pay them back is making sure that you show up. I see so many politicians on social media going back and forth on social media, but I never see them at the polls. And people always ask me what my political views or whatever is. My political views are always capped at the polls. I never get on social media and talk politics because it ain't my place to do it. I'm always remain apolitical, but I do my part at the polls. And so I encourage those people, instead of complaining on social media and going back and forth with people that you'll never meet and you don't know, go let your voice be heard at the polls. And that's it. That's all I got, Drew.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And same here in the Burrell household, man. We cast our ballot yesterday. So we took care of our civic responsibility for our elections here locally as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, please vote, please vote, please vote. Not only in this election, but in every election at every level, because every election matters, whether it's a local election, a statewide election, or a national election. All right. Your future depends on it, for real. Another great show, Griff. Any parting shots for any of the roundtable members that may be still hanging on and hanging out
Look,
with us?
man. Hey, Karen was still here, and she said she on her way to Vegas. So, Karen, you enjoy yourself. You have a good time, and we'll see you back on Tuesday, which means she won't be here with us on Friday because she's gonna be partying. As always, a big shout out to all of the Roundtable fans and friends that show up and support us, whether or not you watch us live or you see us later. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Continue to keep on showing up, keep on being here, and hey, whatever feedback you can give me and Drew. Look, feedback is a gift. We gonna take it, man. Anything that can make the show better, it can make this better for you. Just let us know. Hey, Drew, man, I turn it back over to you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate all of that. And I just echo and continue to do what you do, which is to build off of the previous work that you put in. It was a phenomenal show, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate the continued support, as Griff said, in whatever platform or however means that you communicate with us. We do look forward to the commentary. We welcome the commentary. We chew on the commentary, and we take the feedback that is provided to us only to make the presentation of the show better, because we want it more engaging for the audience. We want it more engaging for everyone to feel comfortable to share their thoughts on whatever games or activities that we are discussing in that particular moment. Y'all have a great week. Y'all take care of yourselves this week. As always, keep your head on a swivel because it is a crazy world out there. And please, please, please find the time to get out there and vote. I was busy is not a legitimate excuse. I had to work. It's not a legitimate excuse. Polls are usually open from 06 in the morning to 2000. That's 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Depending on where you are. Sometimes it's even later. So find that time to take care of your civic responsibility and obligation and cast your ballot. We shall.
I say this real quick, hey, especially if you got early voting. I'm gonna tell you, I walked right in. It wasn't no line. That's all I'm saying. And most precincts like that early voting. I told my wife, I said, I'm gonna run up here and see if they got. Walked right in, did what I had to do. It took me all of 10 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So y'all have a great week, a safe week, a phenomenal week, a productive week, a fruitful week. And we shall see y'all back here on Friday night. Talk about this weekend's games and a recap the Baltimore victory on Thursday, hopefully for the Baltimore Ravens fans. If not, y'all can pack it up, pack it in, as Cypress Hill would say, and prepare for 2026. Y'all stay safe. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be breezy.